Welcome back to the road past Ballarat, we'll call this one. The recap episode of the Ballarat Marathon in 2025. You've heard the lead-in with all the guests and hopefully followed them along on the weekend down in Ballarat. We have two special guests tonight, the winners of the marathon. But firstly, let's introduce the consistent performer, Jason Rossi. Welcome.
Thank you, Moose. Thanks for having me to this last one. Not the ideal one to go through, but it'll be good therapy.
Yes, we'll get into that. But how was the weekend for you overall outside the race? Like being a Ballarat man, you proud of what happened down there?
Yeah, I think you can't help but be proud. I think that a lot of people in the city were and are still talking about it today. Just everything that was happening, all the event itself, the Saturday and the Sunday, I think were really, really good. There's obviously like tweaks they can do to make things better, but the level and the quality of the events got to from year one, like seeing it year one and then year two, it's just gone up a whole nother level, and getting to see sort of behind the curtain this year a little bit. It's been really cool from my side of it, and then to see that all come together on the 2 days, yeah, it was so good. So the event itself for me was unbelievable.
And we're joined here tonight by the winners of the marathon. So Kate Mason, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the pod. It's exciting to be here.
Well, we're gonna get you to give us a full debrief on the race, but were you here last year at Ballarat as well?
No. This is the first time I've run Ballarat. Yeah.
First time. Okay. Yeah. We'll chat into why you picked it later, but we'll also quickly welcome Reece, return of Reece. He was there last year.
Cheers, Moose. Thanks for having me on, mate.
That's all right. You were here. What were some of the things you noticed this year compared to last year?
Oh, I think the crowd support's the first obvious one, right? In the streets there. Like, I would say the crowd support was at least 5 times bigger. They did a pretty good job last year of like going straight into like quite a professional event, where like even last year it felt like a big city event had been organized just in a country town, and they just kind of amplified that more this year, I thought. So, but it definitely just felt like a much bigger event this year.
Well, let's talk to Jason. We'll do his week and then his race, and I want you two to chime in whenever you feel necessary. Don't be shy. We're not here just listening. If you hear anything worth commenting on, please jump in. So Jason, let's hear perhaps for your taper week. So Monday through to Sunday. I think that's a good little story to frame the race.
Yeah, I spoke about it a little bit last week, a couple of days, but we'll go through it just so, as a reminder, I guess, of what the lead in and then I can go right through the race and what happened. But we start down here on Monday. Just a nice, easy 35-minute run that went, or 7K run. I went at 4:40 pace, which was, I said last week it was too quick. Ran for 25 minutes and then stopped for about 10 minutes and had a chat to mum, and then ran another 10 minutes. The next day was much easier. So it was a 6K lap of the lake, and it was at 5:02 pace. So for your benefit, Reece and Kate, I was aiming for sort of around 3:15 marathon pace, so like for a finish, so not pace, not your guys' speed, which is around that 4:35 was probably where I was looking for an actual kilometre split overall. Then the shakeout run happened on Anzac Day, so I just did around Ballarat North, so a little bit of hills, not too much. I try to limit it where I could and just turn some corners, but it's 6 again, so that was nice and easy. Then that was all I did lead into the race. So I did a warm up in the morning, and I ran 1,500 meters, so 750 upstart, 750 back, and then I just did a few strides at like a 10K pace, so 5 strides at around that 10K pace, or even slower it was, and just 80 meters. So I was going up and down Camp Street for that before the race. I'd like, I'll put the factors that could have been the reasons of what happened in the race at the end. I think I've just, not as excuses, but just listed things that are potential to try and figure out what happened, because it didn't go to plan, unfortunately. So all the training I had completed, all the testing I'd done testing out at uni, tested race shoes, been on this podcast. So I had every advantage, I think, going into this race that I could possibly have, and having a coach in Chris Armstrong just doing the testing and going, look, I reckon you're around this 3:13, 3:17 marathon time is what you can achieve. Let's put out a race plan that was, sort of roll through 440s for the first couple of Ks. We went 40 Ks, drop it down. Well, that was, say for the first 10-ish Ks, get it there. Drop it down then to 435s for the next 20 Ks, and at sort of 30 to 32 Ks, then pick it up between 425 and 435 pace was the goal. So I put that out there.
Just before you get into it, when you read that plan, how confident were you that you could execute those numbers?
Extremely. So I couldn't, when I, like, my plan before reading that plan was I would go with the 3-hour 10 pacer and see how long I can hold on to that. So, and again, for Reece and Kate, I ran 3 hours 28 last year was my time. And that's the only marathon I've ever done. And that was probably off a 6 month lead in. And so then I've run ever since then for another 12 months to this one. And hadn't done a few races in between, sort of gone 41, 40 over 10K, and just broke 20 over 5K just before New Year's. So that's the sort of level I was at. So it's sort of your middle of the pack runner, but year one was try and break 3:30, and then this year was, the 3:10 was the goal, but it probably got scaled back just before the race to like 3:15 as a, well, 3:13 probably is an A goal, 3:15 is the B, and 3:20 was the C, and not breaking 3:28 was not even like, and I said it last week in the pod, and it was arrogance, and I said that at the time, like I just couldn't even imagine going slower than I did the previous year because I was so much fitter. So it wasn't even in my thought processes that could happen. And especially with the plan I had, I thought if I go at this conservatively, I'll just wind it up and see how we go. So the morning came, had a bit of a cold all week, woke up on the day and felt clear. Like I wasn't clogged up, so I was feeling good. Got there, said that to people. I was like, feeling good. First time all week, like the best I've felt. Went out to go and hit the splits. So I started in the E corral. I went out with, so the head of the pacers, Simon, was a 3:20 pacer. And I know, like, we don't want to make it about the pacers for Brady's benefit, but I just, so my pace was going to be 4 minute 40 Ks. So going up Sturt Street for the first time, I thought I'll just sit with the 3-hour 20 pacer and he'll go just a bit slower than that. Go up Sturt Street. So don't get carried away. Just go with him. First couple of Ks and creep away. And it's exactly what I did. I got to Vic Park probably just before you turn left to go into Vic Park. And I'd done the first 2 Ks with him. We'd gone, I think it was 4:42 and 4:43. And then I just naturally started creeping away. He said, go for it. Good luck. And off I went. The first 5K I was cruising. I had a friend at the end of Vic Park. So as you come back out onto Sturt Street, and that's around the 6K mark, I had him with a bottle with the Fix electrolytes in it. So I didn't stop at the first table or the second table around Vic Park. And I was thinking, geez, I really hope I spot him here because I've just run past 2 drink tables. I got that. I drank that bottle. The first 5K split was 23:27. So pretty well what I was planning to go.
What's 440s? What's a 5K split at?
It doesn't give me that on here.
Oh no, just like math wise, because you would have thought it. known what you were
440, it was 23. It's 23:30, I think. So I went 23:27.
Yep.
Average
pretty
pace
much-
was 4. Yeah. So for the first split, I manually split my watch at the 5K marker, and it gave me a 440 average pace. So it was 23:27, but the distance was 5.02. So it was like to the second on it.
Mhm.
And then so I got the bottle from a mate, drank that, and I said to him, I said, I'm cruising here. Kept going next
It
5K.
says every person in every marathon, 5K
Yeah.
in, I'm cruising.
If
This
you're
is
not,
like,
it's a problem.
yeah. So I was like, this is perfect. Like, and I was feeling it, went through the next 5Ks. So I would have been at this stage. So there's a few people when we ran up Sturt, a few listeners, and people picked up who I was. There's another guy, Craig Broody, that I ran with that's been following on my Strava and commented. And so I was just having a chat with him, another Run to BB coached person. He sort of said his goal was around like 3:15, 3:16. So we sat together for a while. The next 5Ks was 23:19, so 8 seconds quicker than the first. Measured 5.02 again, and so it was 4:38 average. Still feeling really solid. Picked it up from there. So after 10K, it was to go up to 4:35 pace. So went around at sort of that 11, 12K mark. So that table on the corner of Pleasant, like just before Pleasant, where all the elite athletes, that corner, I avoided that, went around, and I had, so Coxie's daughter, I'd given her a couple of bottles as well. So I was like trying to find her on Pleasant Street, which is insane amount of people, but she spotted me from a mile away and had the bottle out. So I grabbed one of those, kept going around, still cruising. So the third 5K split, so at 15K, I went 22:59, which is 4:34 average pace. And again, it measured 5.02. Still feeling really good. Come around the backside of the lake then, where that wind, so that's where the wind does hit you on that north side with the wind the way it was. It didn't feel that bad. I didn't feel like I had to lift the effort or anything, but I kept going at that same sort of pace. Come through back around the lake, still feeling really confident. Then Claire Phillips, who's also one of the IGA crew, she lives on one of the streets off Pleasant Street. So on the opposite side where I'd got one from Abby, her husband Marty gave me a bottle. So, and still they all had the fixed electrolytes. Took that as turning the corner to go back down Sturt Street. Still
Jason,
feeling really
sorry,
good.
you're taking gels as well?
Yeah. Took gels at 8 and 16.
Yeah.
So that was the plan as well, to go through.
And sorry, I'm a little bit naive. I don't keep up to date with like the latest
compared to me.
nutritions or anything on that. What Fix like Morton, or like is this like a carb?
Yeah, it's just a brand name. So they were the sponsor of the race.
How much carbs are in it?
I'm not sure.
Well, none if it's an electrolyte drink. If it's just electrolytes,
Yeah, it could be in there because like a recovery one as well. But that was more for the water. So I was having 250 mils.
a recovery one.
So where were you getting the carbs? You're just getting the carbs from the gels.
But you've only taken
2 gels.
So I've taken 2 by then.
But that's
so
like
plan,
an hour 15 into the.
So my plan for gels, and look, this could be an answer to the question because that's one of the dot points I got. Was having gels at 8, 16, 23, 30, and 36.
And how many carbs are in your gels? What gel are you? Oh,
I use the Morton ones.
Oh yeah, 25.
So the smaller ones.
Yeah.
What are they, Moose? Are they like 25 grams of carbs?
25 grams.
Yeah, not enough.
But what? Tell me what fixed drink you're taking here.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Bring it up.
Is it called Fuel X30?
Give me a sec. I'll get on there.
I think like the fact that you don't know if there's carbs in your drink bottles probably a concern.
Yeah, and it was more. It's the drink that was on course. So it was the electrolyte drink they were giving on course. It was that, but I just had it.
I don't really know what it was. So Fuel X Pro, is it called?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
Fuel X Pro. So I'll just have a quick squeeze. There's no carb. Each serving contains 48 grams of carbs.
Oh, wow.
So a serving, though.
So a serving would be 2 scoops. I had a scoop in a 250ml bottle. So I'd had 3 scoops by this stage. So by
one scoop is 100 calories, which would be about 25 grams of carb, I think.
Okay, so you're doing a fair bit, actually.
There was actually probably enough if you consider the drink mix as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's good. Yeah, good to talk through. And yeah. So I didn't touch any of the drink tables. I was just getting those at those 3 points. And then I went through the next split, which would have been at the 20K mark, and I hit, it was 23:07 for 5.03 Ks on the watch, and it was bang on 4:35 pace. So I'd done everything, like I was like bang on. So I was feeling really good.
How often you're looking at your watch?
Not very. I took away. So I also just went, I'm going to stick to this plan. I'm not going to try and get carried away with anything else. I'm just going to do this. Keep it really simple. I changed the watch to show me my current pace and my lap average pace. And then there was like total time was like the small bit down the bottom, but I wasn't paying attention to anything else. I was just making sure that average pace for that 5K split was on that marker. That's all I was trying to do. Yeah. And this is, so I thought I was being really conservative and doing really well. As I went up the hill for the second time, I was just feeling, I was like, this is harder than it should be in my legs. And even because the half marathoners had finished, I was going up Sturt Street at the same time as the hack runners were like coming across the road. So they were getting like yelling out to me and stuff. And I was like, just not in the mood. So already at that point, which, yeah, I was concerned then. I was like, something's gone wrong coming up the hill. Going then into, so then my mate moved from the end of Vic Park from sort of being 6K in. I got him to come to before Vic Park so that it was like 24, so that I'd had it a drink every sort of 6-ish. So he had 2 bottles there for me. I just grabbed one, and instead of saying I'm cruising, I was like, I'm like effed here and with a long way to go. So it was at that point I knew I was in huge trouble. I didn't know how, and I was telling myself, just get through Vic Park and reassess. So just keep running, get through Vic Park. So I went up, I was slowing down. I went around the Moose Loop, coming back through that roundabout. I could not run, and it was it was like I had nothing in my legs. And I don't know how to explain it, because I'm checking in going, I can breathe. Like, it's not like I'm gasping for air here. My legs would not keep going. And I started walking. So at 25 Ks, I went through at 24:07. It was 4:48 average. So I'd lost a chunk of time, measured 5.08. And that was the last time I split my watch for a lap. I started walking the back end of that road that goes back to Sturt Street. I was walking there trying to get going, trying to just will myself on, knowing that there's 17 Ks to go. And I'm already just in disbelief at what was happening. The 3-hour 20 pacer yelled out from about 200 meters away and just like, oh no, and like, don't let this guy through, don't let him through, like, make him get on the bus. And I tried to run with him, and I just had nothing. Like, I ran and then had to just totally just let him go.
So your legs were sore, or were they tight, or you were restricted at the hips, or what was?
It's just like the back, like my calves, but even the top, even the quads, they just like, there was just no energy in them to move. was just like they were dead. No real pain. Like it wasn't like my feet were killing because I had the plantar issues leading in. It was just there was just no strength in them to keep going. So it was, I've done training runs that were like way better than this. So I just couldn't understand what was happening at this point. I had sweat then because I was walking. I think the sweat just started dripping down my face. It was in my eyes. So at that drinks table, I just grabbed water and poured it over myself. Tried to keep going. Ran a little bit up Sturt, and there was other people in the same boat. Like at that point, around me, doing the same sort of thing. I was like, this, I don't know what has happened today, but there was a bit going on. So when I got to the turnaround point, I was just trying to keep on moving. There was a guy up there that was with the volunteer that was sort of telling, I don't know, just keeping it safe when people turn around. And I heard her say, look, I can call someone, they can come pick you up, or, it's completely up to you. So I was like, well, he's done. Kept going, kept trying to run. Got a few Ks in there through that period from sort of 27 through to 31. I didn't stop. So there was 4 Ks there where I just continually ran. I'd stopped 3 times by now. I reckon, walking nearly on the left side of the road, like heading away from Ballarat, and saw the 30K marker on the right-hand side of the road. And I was like, that's where I'm meant to speed up. And it's not even meant to be hurting until that point. And I'm walking here. It was really deflating. This is a depressing thing to go through. But it was extremely depressing at the time. So I ran. I was just trying to keep going. I walked probably 4 times then before maybe getting onto the lake. And then, so Abby at Pleasant Street was giving me a bottle, and she was like, do you want snakes? And I was like, just don't bother. Like, I'll take the bottle, but don't stress about me. I was saying to myself, just run just do half the lake, get 3 Ks, have a walk, do the other half. Like, just do that. I did contemplate continuing just straight down Sturt Street and not bothering about the lake at all. But in the back of my head, I had, all right, the kids are down there waiting was one thing. But also the number of finishes is what counts in the marathon. And just for that, for the actual event, I was like, we need as many people to finish as possible. I need to get to the end and do that. And because of that, like the podcast is in my mind, been writing stuff for the local paper, that's in my mind. I'm like, I've got to recap this. I can't just not finish. So yeah, went out, did the lake, was walking far too much. And then halfway round, so near like grammar, boat sheds, or a bit past that probably, just before the wind, I reckon, the 3:30 pacer, I saw them coming. I was like, oh my God, this is horrific. Or actually further out, 9 Ks to go, I looked at my watch and I was like, if I run from here at 5-minute pace, I'm still on track for 3:25. Just like, it was unrealistic. I'm like, if I could just run at 5-minute pace, I'll get there. I just couldn't. The 5-minute pacer came, and actually one of my mates, Dan Manchin, was on that, and he was just sticking to that the whole way, and he didn't even notice me on the side of the road. But I was like, oh, there's Dan. Let's try and pick up. And you can see as like a spike on my thing where it was like I tried, I couldn't. I saw Leah Monaghetti, who's like a friend and also runs, but I think she's a niece of Steve, but her kids have gone to childcare and that with mine, and she just looked at me and it nearly broke me because she was just like, the look on her face, like, oh no, like, and I was like, yeah, I'm done here. So just getting around that, like, it was terrible, like walk, run. And then there's all the people around everywhere too, like Lakeview Hotel, they're hanging out the balcony and that, because that had all the event stuff there. You come back to Pleasant Street and I'm like, I've got to run Pleasant Street because there's people everywhere here. Grabbed it, and then again, Marty's got a bottle for me. I don't even know whether I took it actually. I might have taken it and thrown it somewhere. I didn't drink it because I was like, this is pointless. What's the point? Got to probably the last I got to Macca's where it dips back over, like I was doing a bit, and I was like, it's all downhill from here. Just run and do whatever you can. I tried slowing it down, even in running, couldn't do it. So no real answers. Got down Sturt Street, saw the kids at the corner. Like if I had to run straight, I would have hit them. Just that nearly broke me again. And I was like, just put a smile on, just fake smile. So all their videos and photos of me, just big smile on my face. Inside, I'm like, this is the worst day of my life. Go up and around, come back onto the finish shoot. Same thing there on the sides. My photo at the finish is unreal because I've got this big smile on my face crossing the line. I just felt like, yeah, pure death, and didn't want to be like anywhere near the place. Got off, and then since then, so then everything afterwards, talking to like Chris Armstrong was there, so I went and caught up with him. I said, I don't know, so in the end, I went 3:33:30, I think it was, 5 minutes slower than last year, which, yeah, incomprehensible to what I thought I was going to do. And then Chris said, I saw him, I was like, I don't know what happened. I said, I did the paces right. I didn't go out too hard. I took the gels. And he said, look, you've had a cold the last week. Before that, you've had 2 weeks of, we were down in Melbourne with a family member, lost their life. He's like, the emotional toll that would have taken on you, you got to put that into to it as well. So he's like, you've had the 3 weeks, the worst lead in. He's like, that will affect it. Straight away, and afterwards I was congested and now I'm sick again. So I'm like, all right, that could be it. So I've written these things down as potential things, and any feedback, very welcome. So the cold was obvious, I think. The emotional fatigue, so that 2 weeks. So I was traveling back and forth to Melbourne a little bit with a sick relative, and they passed away. And then obviously funeral, all that sort of stuff. It must take it out of you. I was still running and doing a little bit, but not a great lead in. HRV on a watch, I don't know whether you guys track that or look into the data at all. No. It was reduced for the last week, so it was under the normal line, and it's like your body's you're under considerable stress.
Is that from when you sleep with it and it tracks your sleep and stuff?
Yep. Yeah. So it's heart rate variability. So it dips into different zones of, I think, your nervous system and how your heart's beating is the best way I can explain it. But Ryan out at the uni is much better at saying what it is. The other thing was pace. Should have I stuck to the 3:20 pacer? Potentially the same thing happens, or potentially I can get through it 3:20. Maybe it's going that little bit faster. That 5 seconds a K did it. The fueling, which we've spoken about, how much doing the podcast, doing the other media stuff, how much that weighs into the mind, whether that affects performance. I really felt I was less nervous this year than last year, and people were asking me, "Oh, you're stressed about this?" I'm not. I'm actually feeling really good. I think the podcast's actually been a benefit because I talk about it, and then it's all out there. It's not like people can see that I've done all the work. People can see the testing. It shows I can do this pace. So I wasn't too stressed about it, but maybe somewhere in there it is. I put protein balls down as well. Whether that could be an issue, Moose, you reckon? Those Chris Armstrong protein balls.
Take them on the start line, then yes.
No, I didn't. But I carb loaded like I did, and I practiced the carb load, did the carb load again. I don't know. I just want. I know there's probably no answer. There's never going to be an answer. I wish it was 4 weeks ago, and I could have done it. And I was even saying to Ryan and Ricky today, in 6 weeks, I just want to do it again. I'll run the course twice and just see what I can do by myself. Just for my own mental sake, it was really hard to deal with. And then everyone's the comments on my Strava, unbelievable from all the listeners and all that, and so supportive. On Instagram, people DMing me, all this, it's awesome to have. But it's and everyone at work talking to you, everyone that's oh, you finished it though. Yeah, but last year I would take this year I can't it. And I imagine there's other people, because I try to look at other people's results and they're not there because they didn't finish. And there's other people I know, I'm probably battling with Toby for the biggest positive split, I think, of the day. So there's other people in the same boat, but I'm so deflated And the only person I think it was Clint or Kelvin, two guys talking to yesterday. The only ones that put it in perspective, because it was like, I've done all this work, I've done the race, and it's like I wasted all that time and the effort to get that result. And one of them, I can't remember who it said, but he said, but you actually love that training side of it, and you love hanging out with your mates, and you built these networks. So don't look at it as you've wasted that time, because you actually really enjoy that time. So I think that put it in a bit more perspective. Be like, yeah, okay, bad race, but I do actually enjoy the training. But still, yeah, hugely deflating. So real downer for this episode.
No, I feel like not that it's good for you, but I feel like you've described a battle with the marathon that every single one of us has had at some point. I don't think there's anyone out there who's done even a medium amount of running, or who's run more than sort of 1 or 2 marathons, that hasn't been in your position before. And everything you're describing is something that I've personally experienced myself. And at the same time, like doing all those little deals with yourself in your head and trying to just like working out where it went wrong. This is a great capture or portrait of the marathon and what it can do to you. Yeah,
it destroyed it. And last year I defeated it, I think, because I think that last year was probably the one where I was like 3:28. That's unreal. I'll say that. And then this year it got me back for sure. Yeah. And I was too confident last week. I just too much confidence.
I like, without knowing you at all, I feel like that stress, pressure that you may have from being in the spotlight, and although it might not feel like it gave you nerves, there would be this enormous negative feedback and this worry that comes on as soon as you start feeling like you're not going too well. And it would be just like a weight come on top of you going, oh, fucked it. And that was what I was worried about, fucking it. And then it's not like this little bad patch. It's like you're in a bad patch, but then a concrete slab falls on top of you, and it's all the pressure of everything. I don't know. I just feel like that contributes a lot to people that put themselves out there like you have.
Yeah, it could be. And that's whether that's that mental strength thing. Because I try and think back to last year and go, I remember running past people that were walking on the lake and just pushing myself through and making sure I finished. And this year I just couldn't. I wanted to just keep running so bad, and I couldn't. I didn't look at the run until last night, and I walked 15 times in the last 17 Ks.
Yeah, it's not mental strength, that's for sure. Like, it's not that. That's not what causes this. No way does that happen. It might be something mental that blocks you from being able to physically do it. There's a potential that's a thing. I reckon that I've experienced that myself in the past, and I reckon that there's other examples of that. I mean, look at the Olympic marathon. I think we saw that, the Australians. There's sometimes that kind of thing can affect the physical stuff, like the mental. And that was the immediate thing that I thought when I saw your result. I was like, it's got like the pressure has come down hard.
What
do you guys think?
Yeah, go for it. Tell me.
Kate, what do you reckon about Jason's run, and have you ever experienced something like that in the past?
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think just the pressure, absolutely, like that. You sort of, I don't know, like you feel like there's so much pressure from everyone else, and everyone else is looking at you and expecting you to achieve a certain time, but it's something that you've developed this big story in your head, and like it can really sort of mess with your performance. And I think the fact that, Jason, you have been in the spotlight and you've been doing all this media work, it's built up on you perhaps, and without you really knowing. And come race day, it's just, I don't know, it's come down on your heart, and it's hard to swallow. Like, it's something that's, you're going to think about this for a little bit, but I reckon it's going to make you a bit hungrier as well. I think, you'll get through, the next sort of couple of days, and you'll think more about it, and you'll come out better because you'll be more determined and you'll want to beat this. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think that's the thing with the 6 weeks. Or like, I want to just do it to. I think myself just be like, see, I'm way fitter than last year. To go slower than last year is,
Yeah. And
can't deal with
was
it.
just going to ask with because you were taking on the fixed nutrition, were
Yeah.
you training with that as well? Like in
So I
build?
trained with fixed gels the whole way, but I did sub in Morton. But I tried to run all the time with the fixed stuff. I just ran out of them and couldn't order more in time. And then, so I did enough runs with the Morton as well to test them, and I didn't react to anything negatively. But I ran with the drink mix. I've had that the whole time. I ran with, and this is the other thing I was thinking, and I don't want to speak negatively of brands that were involved or anything. I ran with I think it's called Endura last year, and I bought it from Amazon. And that's why I'm like, do I just go back to that? Like, do I just go back to something real basic and just go back to, I don't know, what I was doing last year? I followed the Ballarat Marathon running plan. This year I had a coach, and Chris has done an awesome job. I'm so much fitter. But it's it didn't happen.
I'm glad you didn't say you bought it off Temu then. That's where I thought you were going.
It's probably on there. I don't know. I haven't bought anything from Temu.
I wouldn't overthink that stuff. Like the going back to something. Yeah, you're much fitter than that. You know that this isn't a reflection of fitness. It's a reflection of the entire situation.
Yeah, I reckon that's just been a bit superstitious, wanting to go back to a prior.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, just going, oh, well, this worked last year, and it could be 10 times worse. I think the product's quite good. It worked all through training. There's training runs I've done better than this year for sure. I did set a half marathon PB though, according to Strava, and I went through. That was it's 1:37:30 through halfway, which is exactly half of 3:15. So that's also, I was like, oh, that's good. I did the first half perfectly, and then it all just went to hell after that.
But you said, so you had a head cold.
I had a cold. Yeah. So from the funeral, so many people sick, but just hugging and kissing, all the people, the family just went down. So I reckon I got over by Wednesday and had it again Thursday. Tried to clear it. Was just taking the good drill.
I was just going to say, a lot of people I spoke to the day before and morning of have been sick, a lot of head colds, and potentially for you might have even been a little bit dehydrated.
Yeah,
yeah.
It could all be that in there.
I've had a similar experience, or just a pretty dramatic experience at Gold Coast a few years ago where I did collapse and I fell over 3 times, and I was pretty sick in the lead up. I had a bad flu, and it was just that. It wasn't COVID, but it was whatever else was sort of floating around, and it got me really good, and it sort of lingered for about 3 or 4 weeks. And I think I then got to the race, and I think I was just super dehydrated. And then with the humidity and the heat and everything of that day, it sounds like I kind of had a similar experience to you, Jace. I was fit, but I just crumbled, and to the point where I collapsed. So,
well, if you consider what you're trying to achieve, you're trying to pretty much the marathon is 42.2K. It's sort of, I know it's an arbitrary type number, but it's also such a challenge. That point, you're trying to run as fast as you can, Jason, for 3.5 hours. Anything outside your peak physical shape is going to hurt you, and it's going to reduce performance by however much percent. And let's say you did run that first half and you stuck to the plan, but if you're running that at negative 10%, then all of a sudden you're that far down off being able to perform at your best. You're trying to achieve something that's incredibly difficult physical challenge. Things just fall apart. It's why the marathon's the marathon. It's everything has to go pretty much perfect to nail one, and it's why we keep showing up to try to get the perfect day. And you're going to have a few of these along the way. It's probably not going to be your last one before you nail one. I know, Reece, I remember you at Osaka, you had You had a shocker last year.
What about BWAR, mate? You remember that one?
I do remember that one. I didn't remember
That was
seeing.
yeah, but BWAR was a real nasty one. That was a bit of walking in that one. Um, oh, exactly what you said, Moose, when Jason's talking about that marathon. I'm just literally replaying Osaka and Biwa in my head. I'm like, yeah, been there. Yep, you start walking and you're like, just run for 2 minutes. I can't even run for 2 minutes anymore. And you're just like, what is going on? And
Yeah.
we all go there. The biggest thing from what you've said, the one thing I would like to highlight, and you've said it yourself. I think Moose has been a little bit harsh on you, just saying like the pressure's got to you and you mentally weren't with it. I I think the thing you highlight is like the funeral aspect and like your nervous system aspect and like the HRV thing. I don't know heaps about the HRV, but more the nervous system. For like my line of work in concussion, we know the role that nervous system can play, and I think don't underplay that 2 weeks of that trauma and going through that experience, what that may have done to your body leading in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I definitely think that played a part, and that like Chris wouldn't have said it beforehand because like why would you? But
Yeah,
after the race when I saw him, he was just like that. Your 3 weeks lead-in has been the worst 3 week lead-in you could have. So yeah, he's not going to say, hey, don't try
yeah.
and do your goal.
And I'm sure there's part of it that, like an emotional trauma could be potentially more of a significant deficit going into a race than like a last minute physical niggle. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if Kate or Moose have ever gone into a marathon where something's happened a few weeks beforehand, and I reckon that could be underplayed.
Yeah, I was considering that today on the treadmill, like
Mm.
how different people react to strong emotional events in their life, and
Yeah.
whether that sort of emotional energy can be used as a strength, or whether it's all like if it's too close to the event, whether it would always be an emotional drainer. You
Mm.
see, like you see examples in the sports world all the time of someone who's able to produce an amazing performance
Yeah.
after like someone's passed away or whatnot. But then you can also see others who kind of crumble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would depend on the person a little bit. All right, Jason.
Happy people.
And welcome to the real marathon, mate.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
good. I won't talk trash about it again of how quick I was going to go.
You know,
Do you
the
know-
one thing from this, as long as you like rebound from it, you could like go lie in your bedroom now for the next 2 or 3 weeks and close your curtains and shut your door and turn the lights off and just curl up into a ball. You could do that, or you can let your body recover and go again.
Yeah.
Get back on the horse.
Yeah, I went for a walk today. So we'll keep going. We'll keep going for sure.
The one thing next time round though is don't go jogging your easy runs at your marathon pace the week of the race, because you've just gone and done 7K marathon pace on the Monday of the race because you're feeling all right.
I was feeling sensational. Yeah, because I didn't do a long run that previous weekend because I just did a race sort of kit test thing.
So that's like Kate going out on Monday and running 7K at 3:35s.
Yeah.
She's not going to do it.
Yeah.
That's where Chris needs to really kind of leash you up, like pull on the collar a little bit and be like, Jason, stupid, mate. I would have given you a spray if you did that. He's too nice.
He is a nice guy.
He needs to be giving you a spray there and just really pulling you up because that stuff's what hurts your marathon. Like, I'm not saying that's what hurt your marathon, but if I was doing my easy runs at the pace you do, or that percentage off my marathon pace, I would be cooked. I would be in that race starting it cooked.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That's just maybe future stuff. But
It's another one to add.
You dealt with like this improved fitness and the confidence that comes with that and the feel-good vibes that comes with feeling good on your runs and like trying to contain that. It's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I was really excited for it. Like, I'm not nervous. And that's, like, the event, the vibes, everything was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was feeling sensational on the day for half of it.
All right. Well, a couple of feel-good stories here. We'll show that some
Yeah,
people
yeah.
can dominate the marathon. And Kate, we're going to give you a little spell because you were just on a podcast before, so you're just getting your second win. You're in the recovery period here, so we'll go to Reece first. Reece, you only entered this late, correct?
Yeah, I want to say, I don't know, 2.5, 3 weeks beforehand.
Funny, I thought it was sold out.
Not the marathon. Marathon was
No,
okay.
not the
Half marathon.
marathon.
Wouldn't have been able to get onto the
Yeah.
half, or the 10K sold out the week of.
Okay. The marathon was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you worry about that, mate.
I'm just trying to understand how it is for the superstars of the sport can just rock up to the races whenever they want. So how was it that you found yourself on the start line of a marathon?
I think it was after doing Port Fairy. Like, I recovered pretty well from Port Fairy, and I've been like over the summer. I've kind of done like some 5K races, some 3K races, and like yeah, I've technically run PBs, but um, everyone kind of giggles at the times I've been running of how kind of bad they've been. Um, so in training, my training's been going pretty well. Like, I've just been doing like 5, 10K kind of training and doing a lot of speed work. And my training suggests that I was in better shape than these short races were proving. And I think I just needed to like get in to a marathon or do something longer and just like kind of, I don't know, get rid of some insecurities I had that like training and racing weren't matching up over the last couple of months. Um, and Ballarat just, yeah,
Port Fairy was so good though. You ran 2:17?
yeah, 2:17:30 something at Port Fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But then after that, I've like, gone to do some 5K racing, and I've like, I've been running kilometers at 250s, which I've never done. And maybe some sessions I might be down in 245s, and then I go out and I race a 5K and run 14:31, and I'm coming, 17th out of 22 people. And then I went and did a 3K race and ran 8:28, and I think I was 21st out of 22 people. So um I don't know, like I was I just I don't know. I feel like you just kind of get a little bit insecure, and you're like, oh man, like these are not some good results, but you kind of want to prove that your training's been going well because the short races haven't proven it to me. So, and at the end of the day, I want to run a better marathon, not a better 5K. So I was kind of just wanted to kind of test where I was at as a bit of a gauge.
So did you do any training specifically for the marathon?
Um, I guess if people quote like marathon blocks or marathon sessions, like my longest session, I did one session that was 16 kilometers in length. Otherwise, the rest of them would have been like 8 to 10K, maybe 12.
But your
So
regular
no.
long runs, what were they?
Um, Long runs were kind of between, oh, I don't know, they would have been between 30 and I would have done a couple of 40K long runs, I reckon. And then I did a couple of nasty things in the long runs, which is probably how I like could go underdone with the interval training. Like, I probably did a couple of long runs where I might have run in the 3:30s or 3:40s, but they at the end, just in like heavy shoes, there might have been like a 15, 20 minute pickup at the end. Or I went out to like the Dandenongs and did like 3 hours over and did like 1,500 meters elevation just to like condition the legs. So a bit like what Jason said last year when I did Gold Coast, my legs just went heavy. Like aerobically, I was like felt fine, and I thought I was in the best fitness of my life. And the entire time I felt it fine, but at 30Ks, my legs just felt empty and heavy. And then I looked back on some of my training from 3 or 4 years ago when I was in the mountains, and I was like, when I run down hills and I smash my quads, I give myself a good set of like, if I'm ever going to experience DOMS, it's from running down 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers hills that have steep gradient, like 20%. So I went and did like a conditioner run, 3 hours in the Dandenongs, and I reckon it works for
I
me.
totally agree. I fully endorse that. I think
Mm.
you only need a couple of them, and you do it early in the block, and
Yeah.
you just it seems like it's immediate strength benefit, like immediate.
Yeah, because in the past I've done like long sessions around Albert Park of 25, like say before Gold Coast, I was doing 25, 28 kilometer sessions around Albert Park. And at 20, 22K, my legs were starting to get that sensation, but you can kind of just get through another 3 or 4K in training and you don't really pick up on it. Um, and then when you do a few races where that happens, I was just like, I need to like condition my body better. So that's something that this year we've changed my entire marathon approach. And obviously I need to work on my speed. So I'm doing that. And then I'm using the long run as my conditioner. So then my legs and my body are ready for the pounding, but then I've got the speed from the other stuff.
Yeah, good. I think I was training for some ultras in the mountains, and I have never been better prepared for a marathon than coming off that type of training, like 50K mountain runs. And then all of a sudden, a 30K tempo, like your legs just feel so much poppier.
They do. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
What would you
Yeah.
typically do the day after, though? Like if you've done, smashed up your legs, doing all those hills, like what do you do the next day if you're feeling sore?
I don't work out till Thursday. So Monday easy, Tuesday easy, Wednesday easy.
Yeah.
All jogging. And I'll jog at whatever pace my body feels. So it could be, I think on a Monday I might run 8Ks at 5 minute Ks, but then after 8Ks my body starts to feel a little bit better and I might end up doing, you know, 14 to 16 Ks on the day after, but it's easy jogging depending on how my body feels. And I don't care how slow it is. Yeah.
Like,
Whereas the old Reece would have panicked and been like, "Nah, you're on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule," and I wouldn't have gone and banged my body up on a Sunday, worried about my Tuesday session. Whereas I'm willing to sacrifice a speed session to like get like Moose said, like in a marathon, like I would probably do it max twice in like the 8 weeks before.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your race.
Yeah. Yeah, I started on the start line, and
What corral? Were
race.
you in E as well?
What corral? Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what the corrals were. I guess from my idea was like I kind of just want to have a solid hit out. And everyone was talking about this group going around 219. And honestly, I was thinking like I'll just run with that group for maybe 15, 20Ks. And then if I feel good, maybe then I'll like try and like hopefully pick it up. But that's if I feel good. So that was kind of like what I was thinking in the back of my mind. I didn't really want to do anything crazy because ideally I want to be able to bounce back and get ready for Gold Coast. And then I reckon it was like the first K we went out and I was kind of just running side by side with Caleb Laker. And I think we were just on the front of the 219 pack. But I reckon we went through the first K.
Good chat.
Yeah, great chat. Great chat. And at the first K we went through in like 3:15. I knew that Alex Harvey was in the group ahead and I could see he went through the first K in 3:05. I'm like, okay, well he's 10 seconds up. And then you go through 2K and you're like, couldn't see him go through the 2K, but you're like, he's probably still running 3:05, so he's probably 20 seconds up. And then by 3K, you're like, he's gone. Like he was so far ahead, and you're like, he's potentially over 30 seconds in front. And so I was at the 3 kilometer. We just entered. I think Caleb and I were running side by side, and maybe between 2 to 3 kilometers, we gapped the rest of the field, like the 219 pack. And I tried to crack a deal with Caleb, and I kind of said, "I want to take K for K," and he kind of just said, "Nah, man, I got this." Um, which I was like, "You won't get another human being saying that, like that's respect, right?" but we got to 3Ks and I was like, we can't let Alex go any further here. And that's when I was just like, I just got to kind of pick it up a little bit and not chase him, but kind of just like don't let him get too far ahead. So if he's still running 305, just don't, because there's a good chance he probably will slow, just knowing Ballarat and knowing the conditions and the course. Um, so I didn't want to like try and bridge across and do something stupid, but it was just like I just probably need to run a little bit quicker than like 3:17s that were going. So I kind of just picked it up, and Caleb kind of just let me go. So probably from 3K, I was solo,
And
and then I ran the entire
so
race
just a
to
quick
effort.
question on having someone like that ahead of you. You
Mm.
knew who he was? Did you know his
Yeah.
goals? Did you know what his training's been like?
I had no idea what his training's been like. I knew his goal was he wanted to run something pretty quick. Um, I'd like I think he was thinking, I don't know, like in the elite room beforehand, he was kind of talking. I feel like it might have been 66 through halfway or something like that. And deep down, I was just like, oh, Ballarat's just not the time and place for me to go and do that, or not go and do that, like go and attempt to do that. So, like, I'm a pretty reckless fella, but even I was kind of like, it's just, I'm not in the mental mood to go and do that either. Um,
So you
yeah.
knowing that's what his
Mm,
plan was.
mm,
Knowing Ballarat, you ran it last year, knowing what it takes to run a 2:13 because you've done that.
mm.
It feels like a bit of an insecure decision to go chasing someone at 3K mark of the race.
I guess I wasn't thinking that I was chasing at that point. I was just thinking in my head, if he runs through halfway in 66, if I am running in this 219 pack, say I go through in 69, 69:30, I was like 3 to 3.5 minutes is a long way ahead. And even if you start to falter a little bit, you can kind of like conserve for large portions and you can almost, it's a long way. And I just wasn't willing to give up 3 to 3.5 minutes at the halfway mark.
Yep. And
So that's where that came from. And don't get me wrong, when I was running solo, when I don't know how many Ks it is when you get into that top turnaround. Is that like 9K or something? I don't know. And when I did that top U-turn turnaround and I saw there's a pack of 20 or 30 guys, yeah, like I'm thinking you've potentially like this could be a very silly move you've done, Reece. But at the same time, I was feeling pretty comfortable.
yep. And so when did you end up catching Alex?
So we got on like he came back pretty quickly between 10 to 15 Ks. So we've got onto the lake, and I reckon we've probably maybe been on the lake for no more than a kilometer, and I've got onto him. Um, and at that point, he had kind of was sitting. It looked like was with a half marathoner, and then maybe the half marathoner was kind of slowing up, blowing up. So then Alex was kind of on the front himself. Um, so then by the time I got up to him, I was like, just sit here and chill for a little bit. But then at the same time, I was actually feeling really comfortable. I was in a really good rhythm. So I just went and just kept my rhythm going.
Yeah.
Um,
Are there any points where you can see that pack before you get down to Sturt Street? Like, did you know if anyone had come after you or not?
No, I had the only time I knew someone had started to come after me would have been like when you get back up to that top U-turn. So that would have been what, like 28, 29K. And I saw that, is it Fraser, the fellow from Adelaide? I
Yep.
saw he was in third at this point. Alex was still in second. But I looked at Fraser and I was like, he looked good. He looked like he was moving. He was toey, he was poppy, and I was like, he looked good enough where I was just like, you can't shut this down. You have to, at that point, I was like, just keep a tempo going that's like, you know, if it's 3:15s to 3:16 pace, for him to close that gap, he's got to start running, sub 3:10s. So just try and make it as hard as possible. But he looked good. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, because when I saw Alex, I was like, he's going backwards at this point. So I wasn't too concerned like at 30K mark. But yeah, Fraser definitely. Um, and I was kind of just like, just keep it steady. Don't do anything silly. Don't like panic and like think you have to move further away or anything. Yeah.
Were you getting
Um,
updates from your coach?
nah, he was just kind of, when I'd go past him, he would just be like, just stay relaxed. Just you've done this in training, just keep going. Don't so I virtually ran, I guess you could say, because I didn't even sit on, like Caleb and I were shoulder to shoulder for the first 2 to 3K. So I was pretty much ran the whole race by like copping the wind to myself. So like honestly, like it's a really good performance for me. Like it's a really, really good performance. If 3 years ago you set up to run a 2:16 high in Ballarat, where I've just kind of paced it myself most of the way, I would have said you're kidding yourself.
To get hard?
So no, I was really happy with it.
Did it get hard for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every marathon gets hard. It's um, yeah, like there was parts. I guess the problem, the difficult part of it is it got hard, but when it got hard, you could just like pull it back by 1 or 2 seconds per kilometer because I had a gap on the field. And you could kind of just go through like a patch for 2 or 3Ks where you just turn it back, and then all of a sudden you come back into a tailwind, and then your speed gets up again. So you could kind of like adjust it. Whereas, say if you're in let's just say, I don't know, like a Rotterdam Marathon or a London Marathon or something, and you're just running with a pack, and you know that's the pace you want to hold. When you go through like a little patch where it feels hard for a K or two, you're never going to let yourself slip off the back of that pack. So you kind of suffer for that little bit longer, and then I think you might have, bigger chance you're going to blow up. So I never went as deep as what I have in like other marathons.
It's a good point you make about having plans, sticking to plans, or listening to your body when you're out there. And it's very rare that, like Jason, you mentioned running to a plan. Like we're doing this to 10K, then you're going to pick it up to 30, then you're going to pick it up again. It's just, the marathon is so wild that it's just so hard to do those sort of plans or execute them like that. You just go through so many different feels. So like listening to how you adapt to that, Reece, I think that's really good learnings for people out there.
Yeah, and I think it's I've been someone that's been in the past always searching for a pack and never trusting myself to be able to run by myself. Like I remember BWA back, was it 2019, Moose? And I think we would have been like 14Ks or even less. I can't remember how early on in the race we were. And you just said something to me where you're like, this group's too fast. I'm going to let them go. And I don't even know if I responded to you, but in my head, or maybe I said to you, I was just like, in my head, I'm just thinking, there's no way I'm letting this group go because there's no one behind us. Like you're going to be isolated from such an early point. I've never had the confidence to do that. And I remember that day you did that. And then obviously everyone knows the result. All of us other Aussies that went with that group, we one by one, we just imploded and you ran through all of us by a significant margin. And I think Port Fairy and Ballarat, I'm starting to get more and more confidence of like, just if there's parts of the race where you have to run by yourself, just do it. Because like last year at the Gold Coast, I was in between the front pack and the next pace group. And I panicked and I just pretty much pulled up shop for 3 or 4K to let the group behind catch me. So then I had a group to run with. But if I had my time again now, I'd probably just be like, just people will blow up from the packs in front. Just keep running the pace that you're comfortable with, and you might actually be able to pick it up with others when you get to them.
Such good. It's so good to hear that you learn the marathon so deep into your career. And this is the thing about the marathon. It's such a learned, like you're basically going 12 rounds and you're into round 12 and you've just worked out how to sort of beat it or at least fight with it a little better. Brady was the same on his recap. Like he's finally starting to work out how to do it after 15 marathons or whatever. It's just, it's probably one of the only, well, probably not. It's probably actually really similar to a lot of sports, but I mean, how many marathons are you running now?
Oh, I don't even know, mate. It'd be it probably is around the 12 mark, to be honest. It'd be in double digits somewhere.
Look at the lessons and the learnings you're getting from it. Like Jason, you're in your second marathon. You shouldn't be expected to be nailing it.
No, I feel like a fool, but I probably shouldn't be. It's really good to hear though, and that's an amazing run because you went quicker than the winner last year, like Tommy DeCanto. The wind was the wind you don't want this year. Like, well, you ran the half last year, you would have known. There was no, like, the temperature wise was perfect this year for people running it, maybe not for people watching it. The wind wasn't though, and there was no sun. But that, like, to go solo to do you would have done 2 laps of the lake basically by yourself, coming around that north side with the wind smacking you in the face in the last, 2 Ks to go of the lake.
Yeah,
that's solid. That's super solid.
Yeah.
It is. As much as Ballarat want to tell you it's the fastest race ever, it's not. The wind says it.
It's Brady. Brady's saying it's the Valencia of the South.
Brady
There's got to be a challenge too. I think it's got the flatness, which is awesome. It's the weather. There's going to be a day when Ballarat has the temperature like it was without the wind. And it might be every 5 years, might be every 10 years. Who knows? There'll be a day when someone does come out and absolutely smoke it. But I think a 216 high on a day where it was a 20-kilometre wind going in the one spot that's sort of unprotected around the lake the most. That's phenomenal to do that 2 laps in a row on your own. Yeah. For people that haven't been to Ballarat, like, come next year. It is a beautiful place, and it's an awesome event. But you're not running in a wind vacuum, and the marathon's not meant to be that. Like, that's why people sign up and we do it, because it's a challenge. So I think it's a scenic course. It's a great course. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be parts where it is hard. But just follow what Reece did, and Kate. When we hear from her, like, they've clearly nailed it.
I think it helps too, also being like having run AV races and having run out in Ballarat a bit. Like, I think people that travel to Ballarat probably don't understand. Like, I've run around that lake, I don't know how many times on that road, and just like that, that little hill up to that is like a roundabout, and it's not barely a hill, but I feel like you always get a headwind to that roundabout. I don't know.
You do. Yeah, the way the wind can come in a lot of the time. What did your race measure? Do you know? Just out of interest, because mine went 42.38. Brady's, I think, was identical at 42.38. And then Damo, who runs the IGA group, was 42.38. And I just think that's, if you can run the lake, and so Reece, you've done it a few times, you would have known a bit more. And Moose talked about it on their weekly show, just knowing where to run around that track too. I think it does take a little bit sometimes to be like, people were running on the left-hand side of the road or in the middle of the road, and you're like, all right, mate, I'm just going to hang down here on the the tram line, flat part of the road here.
Yeah. So
you stay over there.
I was about to say, I was running the tram lines. I feel like mine was 42.24 or 28.
Yeah, well, you've really done well.
It was very good. And Kate's, yours was 42.42.
Yep.
So maybe you weren't in the tram lines.
No, I reckon I was stuffed up there.
Actually,
wide.
I'm looking at a few of your corners. You've taken the right corners.
Have I? I don't know.
You've run the tangents from what I can see anyway. Why don't you talk us through? Wait, first, Kate, you've never been on our podcast before, so can you just give us like a little bio, as if I was reading a profile in a race like a race booklet or something?
Okay. Something, I haven't really prepared anything, but so I live down on the Mornington Peninsula, so I'm down here in Mount Martha. I work full-time as a high school teacher, so down here at Dramana College. I'm a PE outdoor ed health teacher, but I teach all VCE this year, so I've got all year 11s and 12s. Running's like, I'm not going to say it's new to me, but I didn't grow up running. Like, it wasn't something that I've done, from day dot as a junior, doing little athletics and things like that. It's something that I've sort of picked up later in life, but I've always been a bit of a jogger, and so I'm more of a rec runner these days, but just found a real passion in it, and just kept to sort of, or got involved in the athletics or the cross country scene, and just sort of fell in love with it. It's great fun, and that's sort of my background.
All right. Well, I think you passed through the rec runner stage.
Yeah, you're not with us anymore.
Why don't give us your marathon timeline? Like, what if you run for that?
Okay. I hope I haven't missed anything here because I did quickly jot something down before. But look, my first ever marathon was I hope I got this right, back in 2019. So it was more like a bucket list item, and I just thought I'd love to do a marathon. Like, how cool would that be? So I did Melbourne back then, and what did I run? Was it 2019? It was, sorry, no, it wasn't 2019. Oh, I can't remember what year now. I should probably get my profile up. But I ran 3:06 that day. And it was one of the hardest runs I've ever done. But like the marathon, I got completely sucked in. And I was like, oh, man, I just want to do another one. So I've done a few since then. And I've just got a little bit quicker each time. So 3:06, and then I did Melbourne again, and I ran a 2:44. So shaved quite a bit off there, and that's when I knew, this is something that I'm okay at, and I'm enjoying, and I'm not fast. Like, I'm not, in terms of your other distances, like your 5 and 10K races and things like that. Like, it's like, they're not really my strength. I'm not really too competitive in that scene. I'm just not as fast. But I think I'm just good more in that endurance aspect. Like, I can sort of hold on and sort of tough it out a bit. So and then since then did Gold Coast. Got a smidge quicker, but as I said, that wasn't a great race for me. I collapsed 3 times, crawled to the finish line. Like, it wasn't pretty that day. So I did still a PB, but ran 2:43. And then I went over to Japan. I actually I took a year off work and did a bit of travel, but to kick off that sort of gap year, I went over to Osaka and I did the women's Osaka race, and ran the best race I ever have. And I ran a 2:35 that day. And it was one of those races where it was like, although I've run faster now, the feeling on that day was like the best I've ever run. Like, it didn't hurt. Like, I don't want to say didn't like, it was a tough race, but it felt so unbelievably comfortable. And I think that comes down to it just being so cold. Like, I think it was like 12 degrees, maybe even a smidge colder, but it was just, I don't know, the atmosphere, Japan, flat. I don't know. It was really, really cool. So,
did you negative split? Negative split?
I don't think I've ever negative split. Like, it wasn't like, I was pretty even from memory, but I don't. No, it would have been a like slight positive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else have I done? I did Sydney Marathon a couple of years ago. I don't know why it doesn't appear on my World Athletics, but I did run Sydney, and that was coming off that year of travel. So I wasn't really, wouldn't say I was particularly run fit, to be honest. I sort of just entered last minute, bit of fun. Why not? Something different. They're trying to become a world major at the time, and just thought may as well have a crack. So I did a bit of a 2-week road trip up that way in a van, and I ended up running 2:40 that day. That was unbelievable. And Moose, actually, you were there that day. I said g'day to you.
It was hot, wasn't it? Oh, the start line. I remember.
Yes. Yeah. You would have been like, who the hell is this chick?
No, well, I was probably just shitting myself because
to be honest, when I met you, you were very quiet. I think you were pretty nervous.
I was pre-race in the start corral.
Yeah. That was boiling that day. That was what was it? It was like 30 degrees or.
That was hot. Yeah,
it was hot.
It was a warm one, and at hilly, they hadn't really changed the course much then, so you still had it. Yeah, those early little hills at the start.
Yeah. I remember it was, I think we did over, my Strava was saying, I think we did well over 400 meters.
Yeah.
That day. So, but anyway, so did Sydney. That was great. And then last year was my I guess, my sort of breakthrough and obviously getting on the podium at Melbourne. So I ran 2:34 and that was unreal again, like just what a cool experience. Getting up there and, running with Jen Gregson and Sarah Klein. And it was awesome. But like just a really memorable experience. And again, it was a challenging day. It was pretty windy and so it was tough. And I remember running like pretty much well over half of the race on my own and copping that headwind. And it was a tough day. It was definitely a tough day, but again,
pretty big deal. Like girl from Melbourne finishing on the podium at Melbourne Marathon. Like that's the race that everyone knows in Melbourne.
Yeah. It was a really cool experience. And I loved it.
Yeah.
And then now, we've got another PB, shaved off another, maybe, 20 seconds roughly. And I've run a 2:33. So 2:33 half.
Coming in the race, were you expecting to run a PB?
I felt like I was in the right shape to run a PB. I think looking at my training and reflecting on that, I was running well. So I was feeling like I should run a PB. How much of a PB I didn't know. I sort of in my mind and looking at my training, I was be honest, I was hoping to go just a smidge quicker. But I think there's so many things that, play out on the day and you've got to, so many aspects to getting the perfect race. So I think running solo for, the second half of the race, I'll talk about that in a sec, but running solo, copping that headwind, that was pretty tough. I also, a little bit like you, Jace, I had like a bit of a weird sort of, not quite a head cold, but I had and it sounds like I've lost my voice. That's
you sound worse than me. I've got to ham it up a bit more on it.
I'm usually not this deep and croaky. I think it was just from the celebrations on the Sunday evening. But I was actually a bit off the week leading in. I actually got I don't know what it was. I had a sore throat. It didn't keep progressing though. You get like a bit of a scratchy throat and I was trying to take on heaps of fluid and even on the Friday leading up to the race, like I was in bed all day. I slept all day, like proper out. So I don't know.
I'll take that excuse off my list. Yeah, that's fine.
So I was a little bit concerned, but definitely had a good rest on the Friday because, as I said, I slept all day. So obviously I was fighting something, but I woke up Saturday feeling a little bit better, a little bit more refreshed. Not as poppy as I would like to be though. Like, I don't know, like when I got onto that start line, like I was excited, don't get me wrong. Like I was absolutely pumped, but I just feel like there was something, I don't know, going on that was there. And my body was definitely fighting a little something. So yeah.
Well, you've gone off the line, 3:33 first K up a hill. We haven't mentioned this hill, but this is at 18 meters in the first kilometers you're going up. Like that's that is significant.
And I felt every bit of that.
Yeah. Well, probably the second lap more than the first lap.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I think you just get those. I don't know. It's the nervous jitters. It's the beginning of the race. I think I'm just that type of person. As soon as the gun goes, I always go out too fast. It's even if I'm doing a session, I always do the first 30, 40 seconds way too fast.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So did you find yourself in a group, or did you have someone who was looking after you out there?
Yeah, so I was really fortunate. One of my good mates, Aaron Sim, he was meant to be running the full marathon, but he actually got sick maybe like 4 weeks ago or so, and so he decided to still run, but run with me the first lap in the end. So he ran the first 22 or 21. The plan was to do halfway with me and help pace me through the first half. And then we sort of got through halfway and he decided just to hang on and just go back up the hill. up Sturt Street. And then, once we got to about that 22K mark, he dropped off. But before that, like when the race begun, we're probably, maybe, 3K in when you're going into Vic Park, I think it is.
Yep.
And God, I was feeling good. Like, I think because you've gone up that hill, you kind of let that adrenaline sort of settle a little bit.
It's downhill into Vic Park too. Like through the trees. It's beautiful running in there.
It's stunning. I've never been in there. It was beautiful. And I was really trying to take it all in. And like you said, it's downhill. And I was like, God, I feel $1 million. And just in front of us was the 230 group, pacing group. And it was big. There was I don't know, maybe like close to 30 people in that pack. And I was so tempted to jump on because it was sort of just Aaron and myself. There was a couple of other people floating around, but not heaps of people. And I said to Aaron, I'm like, I think we should jump on that. I think we should jump on the back of that.
It would have been big because 31 people went under 230, and the next bloke, Justin Yu, went 230.01. So he'll be shattered today.
Okay.
So there would have been a lot on that bus. Yeah.
Absolutely. It was massive. And I was like, I want to be a part of that.
It was actually they kicked off though. That group went faster than that, and they ended up running 228. Like the key core of that group, 228 mid sort of stuff, low to mid. So it would have been a bad call end of the day, probably. Yeah.
Is that like Ryan Cramery and stuff in that?
It was Ryan Cramery and Will Ford or Will Newton? Will Newton.
Yeah. Will Ford went too.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. So Kate, you've made a good call.
Yeah. Okay. And look, we're very early on in the race, and you're meant to feel good at the beginning, of course. So made the right call just to just run your own race, do your own thing. Don't think about trying to hang on to that group. So the goal was to sort of get through the first half in about 76 minutes, and so like that's around your 3:36 pace, and we pretty much nailed that. I think we went through in 76.
29.
29 was it? There you go. Okay, you got it all up there. So that was pretty spot on, and so I was happy with that. And at that point, feeling pretty good. And then Aaron, he pulled off to the side at just at the top of that Sturt Street, so where the hill sort of drops down, and then I knew, okay, well, it's all on me now, and I was solo. I was pretty much on my own from that point onwards, completely isolated. There was actually, I should say, there was another gentleman, maybe for the next 2K, so maybe for 23K, 24K, but then he sort of dropped off. But I was in that position where, when you're running side by side with someone, and you guys were talking about pacing before, and you sort of think, should I tuck in behind him, or is he going to tuck in behind me, or how do we work this out together? We should work together as opposed to both copying the wind or whatever. So I almost asked him, I don't know why I didn't, I should have asked, but I was going to say to him, hi, do you mind if I jump in behind you? And for some reason I was a bit shy and I didn't say it. And then I sort of backed off a little bit to get in behind him, but it turned out he was just going that little bit too slow. It was just I don't know, I felt like it was just, the pace was just off. So then I made the call, went around him, got back beside him, and then, within 2K, he was gone. So
he wasn't in a yellow singlet, was he?
Oh, gosh. Potential. I can't even remember now. Brain's fuzzy, maybe. Do you know him?
Well, I'm not. Just someone around that period in time that is a very good guy to get behind because he's a big frame.
Oh, no. Oh, look, from memory, I feel like he was kind of stocky, but not massive.
Maybe. Not tall.
Might have been a different guy. Yeah. So anyway, but then kept heading out, and it was it was starting to get tough, like mainly, I don't know, once you hit like that turnaround, like that hairpin at the end of Sturt Street, like you sort of turn the corner and then you're heading straight back into the wind. And that's when I really started to feel it. And like I was still running strong, but look, I'd probably dropped a second. I wasn't really looking at my watch, to be honest. I really was just running to feel. I think looking at your watch sometimes it can really hurt you mentally. And I think a bit like what you were saying, Reece, like you just got to, like, you have a plan, but you've got to be able to, you know, adapt, and you've got to listen to your body a little bit. So I didn't really look at my watch at all. Like yeah, every, I don't know, once in a blue moon, I would have a quick scan down, and I think I was running, 3:37s, I think it was. So, you know, I was like, okay, that's cool. It is what it is. I've just got to run my own race though. I've just got to, just get the work done. And, you know, that wind, once I got around the lake, like, that was pretty brutal.
At this point, like, let's say 35 to 40K, do you know where you're sitting in the field? Are you getting updates on who's behind you, that kind of thing?
No. I honestly, I had no idea. I knew I was leading.
Yeah.
I knew I was first female because pretty, like, the atmosphere, like the people out there, like the supporters, my God, they were awesome. Spectators were wicked. Like the atmosphere out there was just electric. And like around the lake itself was a bit quiet. That's fair. It was bloody cold out there. Like I wouldn't want to be standing out there either. But through like the actual town and through those streets, like so many people were like yelling out to me, calling out my name, and telling me, you know, first female, all that sort of stuff. And I obviously had I had two like officials on bikes in front of me as well. So I knew, and then the bike, like we had some, media coming through every now and then, just getting some footage. And so I knew that I was leading, but I had no idea where second or third place was. And going into the race, honestly, I thought that I was going to be running in a bit of a female pack. And I was actually really excited about that. I thought, this will be cool, because most of the time, either I'm running completely solo with no one around, I'm in no man's land, or you're surrounded by guys, which is great. Like, guys are usually a bit bigger as well, so you can sort of tuck in. Yep. But, I thought maybe the girls would be a bit closer, but it didn't play out that way. So I only really saw, so when we did that second hairpin, the first hairpin, I did see the second female, and I think at that point, so this is maybe, where are we? It's around the 18, I think it's 18 Ks-ish. I did see her, and I'm going to guess she was maybe a minute behind me about that. So you
had a bit of a buffer there.
A little bit of a buffer, but like, I don't know, like a minute to me didn't actually, this would have been on the second lap, not on the first lap, the second lap. And
so it would have been 29 Ks in?
Yeah. So 29. Yeah. So
looking at the splits, I think you had a minute 30 at 31.1K. And then, but it had prepped, it was a minute 17 at 26. So you were going quicker as well. Yeah. But you're not to know that. But,
no. Yeah. I'm thinking I'm slowing down.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely getting tough. And because as soon as you turn that corner, it was just like boom, headwind, pretty intense. And so I did spot her, and then I thought, oh goodness, like I haven't got much on her. And then I was kind of running in a bit of not fear, but feeling like I'm being hunted down. You know what I mean? Like, because I've never been in that position. I'm usually the person at the back. Like I'm the person looking at the others and, trying to sort of, I don't know, hunt them down. But I found myself in a very different position. But I just had to, again, run my own race and, just think about putting one foot in front of the other. And, when the wind was strong, I just had to remind myself, everyone's copying this. Yeah. If I'm struggling, so is everyone else, and just to keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep form, stay strong.
So when did you know you're on PB pace?
I had no idea.
Till you finished?
I actually had no idea where, like, I didn't know what time I was going to finish in until I saw the clock at the end. Which was actually quite, hey?
It's a good way to be.
Yeah. Yep. It's even like, I mean, I'll be honest here, I didn't really even study the course. I know the course isn't that complicated, but I don't know, just my lifestyle. I'm a pretty busy person, and you guys are too, but like I didn't really spend much time, sort of looking at it, thinking about it. I kind of just rocked up and went, right, what are we doing? Like, and it's funny because, with the last, let's say 2K to go, the bikes come up next to me, like with, some media, and they're filming, and I'm in a bit of pain. Like I'm like, I just want this done, and they're chatting to me, and they were saying like, oh, how's it feel? How's it feel to be about to win the marathon? And I was thinking, bloody hell, we haven't even finished.
No, that's shit house by them.
Oh, I was like, I haven't even crossed the line yet.
Who was that? Who was that? That's terrible.
I don't know.
I don't like that
But I was
at
also
all.
like, okay, well, that means, to me, that meant, okay, well, I've got a good lead. And we're sort of entering that last bit. We're going to go downhill here. But I can't remember what I was going to say with that. Oh, yeah. But because I was like in a state of like, I don't know if you guys get this, but I get a bit like hazy, bit delirious. And
yeah, you've run 40Ks. You're not thinking clearly. Yeah, you're not thinking like someone that's on the table to just talk to you and go, hey, how you going? Like,
I don't even know what I'm thinking, but it's funny because, had I have studied the course, I would have known it's pretty simple. You just go down the hill, quick left, quick right, and we're there, right? So in hindsight, I kind of wish I had studied a bit more, because maybe I would have pushed down that hill a bit more, but I was just like, all right, I'll just cruise down the hill, get it done. But I asked those boys on the bike, I was like, how much further? How much further? I could have looked at my watch, but I was like, how much further to go? And they're like, nah, you got like 2K. It's all good. I was like, just keep going straight. And they're like, yeah, just keep going straight. I'm like, all right, yep.
The first lap you've already done. Just do that.
Just do it again. But, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't even thinking straight. I don't know. But yeah, no, when I came into that final little shoot, like, up, down, and then you hook the corner and you've got like, I don't know, what is it, 50 meters or whatever it is. Probably touch. Actually, that's probably more than that. But that's where I saw the clock. That's where I went, shit, I could get a PB here. Because I honestly didn't know what my pace was because I just thought, I don't even know what the time is. It is what it is. And I looked up, saw the clock, and I think I had, like 30 seconds or whatever it was to get under 2:34. And my goal was to get a PB. And I was like, if I can go sub 2:34, I'd be wrapped. And when I saw that clock and thought, I've got to get a move on, and you can see it on some of the footage that's released, I do pick it up. Like I sort of start to go, I better go, and sprint that last little bit. And sure enough, I just dipped under. So, but I almost missed the finishing tape. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I saw Reece almost miss it too. I saw Reece come across and miss it or nearly miss it.
I did the same thing because when you come just back down before you take that sharp right, they say half marathoners to the left, marathoners to the right. So then you take the right where it says marathoners, and that puts you onto the right-hand side of the road. But then they've got the tape on the left-hand side of the road. So it wasn't until the last 10, 15 meters you see it's on the other side of the road.
Yeah. I think there's a couple. Sorry to cut you off there, Kate. Because I was there the Saturday as well. I just think these are some of the tweaks. And obviously they've changed the course. So it was a lot straighter uphill last time where you didn't have the turn. So where the commentary was and where all like Adam and the officials was on the left-hand side of the track. And then, they were pushing everyone to the right. And the same thing happened the day before when I watched the 5K mass participants. So you had the men and the women together, so not the elite one, where the girl that won that had to go from the right-hand side of the track to the left, and they're trying to push the guys to the right. So it's just there's a few little tweaks that they need to make in that. Just that finishing process. I think they've neatened it up a little bit, and it did work well for the people that were going through the marathon and the half that were finishing. That was better than last year, but just with you guys being a lot quicker, and just the way, and obviously then trying to get you through the tape, they're on the wrong side of the course, or one of you is on the wrong side of the course for just how it was coming through. So that'll be one thing I'm sure they'll look at fixing, because it would have happened a couple of times over the weekend. And
it was a minor thing. It didn't worry me at all. I just
it's your moment in the sun though as well. Like you got to take that. Like
No, that was a first for me. So I've never run through the tapes. That was exciting.
That's cool. That's really cool, especially in a marathon too. In a marathon, like, it's just a bit more investment over the course of the race to win a marathon. It's someone once told me it's so rare for someone to win a marathon. Like, just if you get a chance to do it, I know it doesn't happen. It's not very accessible to most people, but even just like for sub elites or whatever, if you find yourself in the position, just go and do it. Pick a smaller race just to experience something like that. It's pretty epic.
Yeah.
75% of people on this call have won one, so that's a good ratio.
Yeah, it's easy. All right. So we've been going longer than an hour, but I want to just get a bit of a future plans kind of statement on what are we going to do next, how are we going to approach running over the next 6 months. Start with you, Jason.
Yep, I booked in for Melbourne. So, because you have to do that a fair way in advance when you do have to register and pay and don't have any inside line. So I did that early on, and I think there's potential as well to potentially do a half here at the Gold Coast. So I have to talk with the family about that one. But they're probably two things. I'd like to do a half somewhere before another full, because I haven't done a half properly. So I'd like to get something quicker in and have a crack at that rather than keep on doing these. Listening to you both talk, and these are the lessons, like that being able to pace yourself and knowing what to go at, the effort sort of things, and when to back off. It's not something you can just know. You have to do the races to learn that. You can't just listen to other people talk about it and go, oh yeah, I can do that in my next race. So I think it's just more running, more endurance ones without potential.
I think we lost him.
We lost him? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, damn. All right. Well,
that was good what you're saying too.
Yeah. Why don't we move on while Jason comes back to us? Kate, what are you planning to do? Like, sub 2:30 is the obvious stepping stone here.
Yeah. Look, I haven't really thought too much about it, really. I don't really know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to enjoy a lot, a little bit of a break right now. And sort of just reflect on the experience and the training and everything. And then, sort of make a bit of decision in the coming weeks. But look, to be honest, I've not really thought about it at all. We did joke a little bit on Sunday about me getting into high rocks though.
Oh, I heard about this. Was it Sunday afternoon?
This?
Was there some one-arm push-ups or something?
Oh, all right. This is perfect segue. Can I just read? This is funny. So a friend messaged me like an hour or so ago, and he was like, I'll read his message word for word. He goes, I was thinking earlier about your day on Sunday. Just awesome. A 2:33 marathon, a race win, a pub crawl, a one-arm push-up, a car park dance party, and a 1 a.m. kebab. Congratulations, mate. What a fun weekend.
That is a good Sun.
So
That is a good Sunday in Ballarat.
that's
Were you
Sunday
were you
Ballarat
were you out till 1 a.m. on
up to
Sunday?
1 a.m.
Where
Unbelievable.
at? Where was open till 1 on
Where?
Sun?
Oh, it was hilarious. So we went to.
Sounds like
We went to a few.
Macca's.
Oh God, no, not McDonald's. No, we were. Where did we go? We went. Oh, we started at some Irish pub. Had a Guinness there. I don't drink Guinness, by the way, normally, but it's what we're all
What
doing.
time
It's what
did?
we're doing.
What
Hey,
time was this? What time was
this
this?
would have been maybe like 2
Oh yeah.
ish. Yeah, I reckon. Maybe even a bit earlier. By the way, I did pace myself, by the way. But then we ended up, we did go to the Lakeview Hotel. Yeah, we went
The
there.
locals were all out there. That's where all the locals went.
Yeah. So, we actually caught up with all the Run to PB crew as well earlier, even before that. I don't know. It was like Arnie.
Sorry to hear that.
Know. Yeah.
Sorry to hear about that.
So caught up with all them, and then we sort of moved on, and then we went to Lakeview, and then caught up with more crew, and we watched Andy. At London, doing his thing. And then we left there, and then this was hilarious. I don't know if you guys have seen this guy, but he was actually out on course, this older gentleman who's like had like a DJ sort of thing set up, and he had music pumping. He was in the middle of one of the roundabouts, I think just out of Vic Park, and he had like maracas, and he had all these instruments. And anyway, he was like out in the middle of a random car park in Ballarat, music pumping, all these instruments there to go. And it was like a rave in the car park, and anyone could go in and join him. And it was like the best thing ever. It was like harmless fun. So we just joined in with some other crew, and we just had like a party in the middle of this random car park. It was epic.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that didn't happen when I was there, and I was there for a long time.
Yeah, someone was saying to me he's there on the regular as well. This wasn't just a Ballarat Marathon, thing. Apparently he's there like most weekends. So
yeah, right. Okay.
Keep that in mind.
All right. Reece, you're off to Japan this weekend?
I'm heading to Japan in like maybe 10 hours, and I'm still got to finish packing. I still got to type a few work-related. I'm sitting here trying to type away at the computer.
And I've been muting you. I keep muting you because all I can hear is fucking typewriter.
Well, is that how it's happening? Oh,
yes.
Sorry, mate. Oh, yeah, sorry, my bad. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I'm heading off to Tokyo tomorrow. ASICS are doing a bit of an event over there. I kind of got a last minute offer. I'm kind of more like on the trail scene for ASICS, so to get an opportunity like this is very rare. So when they offered it to me a few weeks back, I was like, yeah, why not?
It's as rare as you racing a trail race.
Yeah, now. I raced a trail race back in January. Come on.
Surely that's not what you're there with ASICS for, trail racing.
No, I have to commit probably, let's say, the second half of this year I may be doing like a full, if I'm going to keep running, I'll do a full transition to trail stuff. And
okay.
And well, I kind of have to, right? And ASICS have been so good to me, and they've kind of just let me do my own thing and be Reece. And I feel like I want to repay them, so I need to get on the trails and do what I'm meant to be there for. So
cool. That's fun.
I owe them big time. Yeah.
You got a dream trail race, dream trail event?
Honestly, not really. I kind of just want to get myself involved in, like, I want to challenge myself against some like the best guys, because like the top guys in the trail scene now, like they're getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And I'm not going to be competitive at the international level, but I don't know, maybe even just going back to Tarawera. But I just want to go to a trail race and just go into my soul and just have a competitive trail race.
Yeah, there's different levels to it too, isn't there? There's like European trail racing where you just go up crazy mountains so
I'm smart enough to just be like, I'll pick runnable, like things that would suit me, because I'm not very good at running over hills. So but yeah, I'll definitely be aiming for more like runnable kind of elevation, anything probably from like 4,000 to 5,000 meters of vert over 100k, I reckon I would be willing to put my
That's
hat
pretty
in.
hilly. That's pretty hilly.
Yeah, but we'll see. Like I've been talking about committing and doing more trail stuff for about 5 years now.
So you got the deal.
Yeah, you just pop up every now and then and remind them that you you run in the bush every now and then. You're good.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, all the best. And Jason, you're back. You're back for our final send off. So give us a send off from Road to Ballarat 2025. Maybe you're not back. You there?
Sorry, I keep cutting you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just then, but it's slow and catchy.
How long's
Yeah,
Wi-Fi
really
been in
delayed.
Ballarat for?
He's got a cable coming out of his computer.
I'm
I think this is a sign that we need to end the
in.
stream.
I know. Did you have to take your landline off the hook to log on?
All right. Well, you two marathon winners, thanks for coming on tonight. And we'll see you next year, perhaps. Kate, 2:30 super marathon, Valencia, Berlin, all the good spots.
Sounds good. Thanks for having us on.
Jason obviously had some technical difficulties towards the end of the episode there, but did want to thank everyone who cheered his name on course during the race on Sunday, people in his Strava comments, Instagram DMs, all those kind of things over the last 10 weeks that we've been doing this show with thanks to Federation Uni. They also do have a survey. I think it's Ryan who was on the episode a few weeks ago who's in charge of this survey. If you raced on Sunday, there is a link in the show notes. Ask you a number of questions about your pacing strategy, how you felt during the race, matches up with your finishing time, and then I'm sure they're going to get some great data out of it. I filled it in yesterday. It's all very, very simple. Only takes a few minutes. So check the show notes for that one. Thanks, guys.